Good morning, beautiful humans. How are you? Thank you for being here. It is good to see you. This morning is a status conference for Lori Vallow's trial in Maricopa County. She will be in Judge Bereskey's courtroom. The hearing, as I understand it, will not be live streamed. So I'm going to be here reading Justin Lum's live tweets. If you don't follow Justin Lum of Fox 10 Phoenix, he is the reporter who I think originally reported. I think he was the first one to report on this case, and he's been with it the entire time. He does a really good job of covering everything, and he's in the courtroom this morning. And he always live tweets the proceedings when they're not being televised. And so Judge Bereskey did rule that cameras can be allowed in the courtroom, but apparently we're not able to see the hearing live. So Fox 10 Phoenix always posts the video, the live video, the video of the proceedings after they've finished. So yesterday it was probably around 1 p.m. when they finally did post the actual video. But I wanted to come on here and cover the hearing prior to the video being posted. So I won't be on as long today as I was yesterday. I did a total of 6 hours of live streaming yesterday. So it was kind of an exhausting day. Today I have some family things and personal things I have to take care of later this afternoon and evening, so I will not be on as long today. But I did want to at least get on and read the live tweets and talk a little bit about the legal basis for self-representation, and to, just sort of have a chat a little bit about what's going on in the courtroom this morning. So far, Justin Lum has not tweeted anything, which is a little strange because yesterday he was in the courtroom for the 8:30 hearing, and he tweeted right away at 8:30 to let us know that he was in the courtroom. Okay, so here it is finally. He just 2 minutes ago tweeted, back in court for Lori Vallow's status conference. Yesterday, she was officially deemed competent to stand trial in Arizona. She wants to represent herself, and we should learn more today from Judge Bereskey. I'm posting the competency submission for Vallow as well. So I'm actually going to share my screen with you here so that you can see his Twitter feed. And here is a picture of the outside of the Maricopa County Courthouse there in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And then here is the ruling that she is competent. So you can see over here, we've got Travis Martirosian, who is the judge presiding in that Rule 11 hearing, State of Arizona versus Lori Noreen Vallow. And then it lists her attorneys and the prosecution as well. And it just says defendant competent. And then it gives the legal code 848M. So those are the two things that Justin has posted so far this morning. And I know that he is going to keep us up to date. In the meantime, I wanted to go over some of the legal basis for self-representation, because a lot of people were asking me yesterday, what's going to happen if she represents herself? And is there any way that the judge can deny her the right to represent herself? So I just want to let you know what I came up with. The right to represent yourself is covered under the Sixth Amendment. And that's something that I knew before, but I wasn't exactly sure how that all figures into everything. So the Sixth Amendment covers all of the protections for individuals who are accused of crimes. And it's that the whole package of the right to a speedy trial, right to a public trial, right to an impartial jury, all of those things. So the right to represent yourself is included in the Sixth Amendment, along with, if the defendant can't afford an attorney, then one will be provided by the state. And then they also have the right to represent themselves if they knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waive their right to counsel. So Judge Bereskey does have some leeway in this, where he can consider all of the factors in the case, and he can consider Lori's capability of defending herself. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks so much for your support and your kindness. You guys are really kind. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Good to know. Okay, thank you guys for the updates. And I'm staying in touch with my other case followers, people that I love on YouTube who are following the case as well. I know that Lauren of Hidden True Crime is going to go live at about 12:30 today. I don't think Surviving the Survivor is going to cover this today. I'm not sure what Crush's plans are today either, but I just wanted to let you know, I think Lauren's going live at 12:30. So I may check in with her and see how she's doing. It's always so hard for us to catch up with each other because we're both so busy. Nicole, thank you. I'm doing great today. I slept really well last night and woke up feeling wonderful. It's a beautiful morning here. It's about 50 degrees in South Texas, which means it's sweater weather. So I'm doing great. I really hope that Lori is not able to represent herself. That's going to be hard, really hard if she is. So that's why I want to go over some of the legal basis of this. So specifically in Arizona, I wanted to look that up. And so I looked up some of the information in the Arizona legal code. And so there are some criteria for a defendant to represent themselves. And I'm just going to go back and refresh Justin's feed here real quick. I'm going to keep checking back on this. He says hearing was supposed to begin at 8:30. Prosecution and defense are back in chambers speaking with the judge. Vallow has not appeared yet. Okay, now I'm nervous. So the criteria. Thank you for clarifying, Sally. Lauren's going live at 1:30 Eastern, so 12:30 Central Time. So in the Arizona legal code, competency. A defendant must be mentally competent to both stand trial and represent themselves. The standard for competency to stand trial, established in cases like Dusky v. United States, requires that the defendant have a rational and factual understanding of the proceedings and be able to assist in their own defense, which is what we covered yesterday. So we already knew this. However, in Indiana v. Edwards in 2008, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the competency standard to represent oneself could be higher than the competency to stand trial. This means a judge can deny self-representation if the defendant, while competent to stand trial, lacks the mental capacity to conduct trial proceedings by themselves with the necessary skill and decorum. So that is a big, big loophole. That gives me some hope that gives Judge Bereskey some leeway to say, okay, she might be competent to stand trial, but I doubt that she is going to be able to conduct trial proceedings by herself with the necessary skill and decorum, meaning the courtroom has to be a somber place. It has to be, the proceedings have to be dignified. So I just, that gives me some hope. I'm definitely hoping that Judge Bereskey will have some leeway there. And I agree with you, Nicole. Skill, 0. Decorum, negative. Well, she did attend her own trial last year. So, I mean, she has some time in the courtroom. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Judge Bereskey will not allow her to represent herself. So there's a couple of other things. And I'm going to go, again, refresh Justin's feed here to see what's going on. Nothing new. Okay, so number 2, along with competency, there's another couple of requirements here. Number 2, knowing and intelligent waiver. Before allowing self-representation, the court must determine if the defendant is making a knowing, voluntary, and intelligent waiver of their right to counsel. If the judge believes the defendant does not fully understand the implications of self-representation or the charges against them, self-representation might be denied. So there's another little loophole for Judge Bereskey. Number 3, courtroom disruption. This one, I was so grateful to read this. I think this is why I got such a good night's sleep last night. If a defendant's self-representation is likely to or already is causing significant disruption in the courtroom, the judge might limit or revoke the right to proceed pro se. This could be based on behavior that shows an inability to follow court procedures or an intent to disrupt the trial process. And I expect Judge Bereskey to question Lori this morning in the hearing, because I think that's what's going to determine whether or not he allows her to go pro se. Sandra Massey Hicks, if she's found guilty, can she get the death penalty? That's something I'm gonna go look up here in just a second as well, because I don't think the death penalty is on the table for this case because it is conspiracy to commit murder. So I don't think that she can get the death penalty, but I will look that up again here in just a second. I've looked it up a couple of times and then forgot immediately what I found out in research. So I'm going to go back to this courtroom disruption. If she shows an intent to follow an inability to follow court procedures or an intent to disrupt the trial process. So I think Judge Bereskey is going to have to question her pretty heavily about her intent for going pro se. And he is hopefully going to really make certain what her intentions are, how she plans to handle things like questioning Kay, for example, questioning Colby, questioning potentially her parents, those kinds of things. I don't think they'll get into that kind of detail this morning in the hearing, but I think the judge is going to have to question her to really understand why she wants to represent herself and what that's going to look like. So I agree with this. Leanne Hamilton, she is a serial killer and she gets to put on a show. If she represents herself, that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be the Lori show. And I think, I talked about this extensively yesterday, but I think that the reason she wants to represent herself is because she knows this is her last chance for sort of a public display. And I think she just wants to show off. She wants people to view her as being a very intelligent and competent person. And what better way to do that, than to represent yourself and pretend like you can be an attorney. So, Nicole, I agree with this as well from watching Judge Bereskey in the other hearings. I think he has a high BS filter as well. And he has zero tolerance for tomfoolery. I mean, he has put the screws to a couple of the attorneys and a couple of the requests and everything. So Stacy asks, would an Arizona require a death penalty qualified defense attorney? Yes. Thereby she could not represent herself. Yes, I believe that's true. Again, I'm not an attorney. If there are any attorneys in the chat, please let us know if we're on the right track here or if we're off. Maybe Lori thinks that she can explain it all away, but I think that the more likely scenario is that she wants to be on display. I think that's really the main motive behind this. But also, yes, of course, I think she's going to blame all of this on Alex, and she is going to probably try to introduce a bunch of evidence that Charles was having an affair, which is what she was accusing Charles of. But we all, in the space of following Lori, most of us feel like she is, I'm sorry, you guys, sometimes my brain just glitches because my ADHD, goodness. Okay. Lori has the you spot it, you got it disease, which means if she accuses somebody else of something, then it's probably because she's doing that thing herself. It is a tactic that's used by manipulators and people with narcissistic traits. They cannot accept responsibility for the things that they've done wrong. And they're always trying to get people to look at someone else's behavior instead of looking at their behavior. I mentioned yesterday, I am doing an e-course that's launching on January 7th on how to spot manipulative behaviors and how to defend yourself against them. The link is in the video description below if you want to sign up for that course. It's going to be a live 8-module course that's going to happen over the first 8 weeks of January and February. Anybody who deals with people like Lori in your life and, manipulators and coercive control situations, this e-course is going to teach you how to spot their tactics and how to defend against them. And what Lori is doing right now is a bunch of manipulation tactics. She is definitely in manipulator mode all the time. Everything that she says and does has the goal of making her look like the hero in everybody else's story. She thinks that she's the main character and everybody else are, supporting actors in her story. So anyway, I think that Lori, her defense tactic is going to be to try to paint Charles in a terrible light, which I think is disgusting. And she also, I think, is going to blame Alex. Now, somebody up here said, this is what made my brain glitch because I saw Alex's name and then I went in a different direction. I wish Alex were here so he could be brought to justice, but also go against Lori. Only problem is I don't think he would. I don't think he would either. I wish he was here too to receive justice for what he did for his role. However, it is what it is. Obviously, we can't change anything. Alex is not here. His life is over. I'm glad he's not on the planet anymore to harm people. But, I don't think he would go against Lori if he was here. Yes, I really do think she's going to blame Alex. I mean, he was there. He pulled the trigger. I think, well, if she's smart enough to overcome her hubris for a moment, then she will realize that that's her best option for a defense is to blame the person who actually pulled the trigger. When she went into the police station, they did not question her at all. They didn't question her narrative at all. I mean, yes, they questioned her, but it seemed like the person who was questioning her saw her as a victim and not as a perpetrator. And that's why she and Alex were allowed to go free. So I don't have any blame for law enforcement. I know they do the best they can in the situations that they have, and I would not want their job. So I'm going back to Justin's Twitter feed here. He just tweeted prosecutor Katie Staub. If I was in my German diction class, we would say that Stopp is back at her desk or Stopp. Anyway, Katie is back at her desk. She's the prosecutor, but the defense and the judge are in chambers and the doors left open. Unsure if Vallow is back there as well. I would guess that Lori is back there with the attorneys and that the judge is probably questioning her with some of the things that I was mentioning before. Yeah, she's always the victim. This is true. Yes, and if she's wise, to continue the narrative of all the police footage after the shooting, she would have to blame Alex. This is the point right here, meme of 8, that this is the reason I want to be there in court, because my family members were involved. They were there, and Lori and Alex were at their parents, Janice and Barry's house later in the day after they left the police station. And I apologize, my voice hasn't woken up just yet. And I want to know how they were involved. And I want to hear the answers to the questions. I want to know if they helped Lori and Alex, manipulate text messages or mess with evidence or what. I want to know. Jenny Allison, I think what they're discussing in chambers is how Lori is going to represent herself and what her motivation is, and whether or not she actually understands how to do this with the words that are used in this information that I looked up about Arizona self-defense. Uses the words skill and decorum. Does she have the necessary skill and decorum to represent herself at trial? So I didn't quite finish this information that I looked up. So we talked about competency, that the standard for competency to represent yourself can be higher than the standard of competency to stand trial. So even though she is competent to stand trial, the judge can rule that she's not competent enough to represent herself, because again, if the defendant, while competent to stand trial, lacks the mental capacity to conduct the trial proceedings by themselves with the necessary skill and decorum. Is she smart enough? Yes, I think she's smart enough. Is she going to do it with skill and decorum? I don't think so. Yeah, she definitely, it is on brand for Lori. She definitely wants to control the narrative. Yay, Tina 4RL. I work in law. Attorneys do not represent themselves. That should tell a person everything they need to know about self-representation. I think it was Mark Twain who said a person who represents themselves has a fool for a client. So there you go. I know a few attorneys that work in different areas of the law, and none of them would ever tell somebody to represent themselves. It's always a bad idea. It doesn't, you're not going to have a good outcome. There's a reason why attorneys do what they do. And you're always going to have a better outcome if you have a competent attorney. Yes, this is the other thing I considered yesterday. When Lauren went live, she said a few things that I hadn't even thought of yet, and this was one of them. I would add as a motive that Lori thinks she can subpoena Chad, see him, and speak directly to him. Any attorney representing Chad will plead the fifth. Distorted thinking. Any attorney representing Chad will plead the fifth. I don't think the attorney would plead the fifth, because that pleading the fifth is against self-incrimination. So anyway, but yeah, I think if she represents herself, I think she would want to call Chad as a witness and, be able to see him and all of that. Yes. And so it's up to the judge to make that decision. And I think that's what's happening right now, is that the judge is talking directly with Lori. I'm not sure if the court reporter is in there. I don't know if it's on the record or not. I'm counting on Justin Lum to update us as soon as he knows something. I'm looking at his Twitter feed again here, and there's nothing yet. The last update was that the defense attorneys and the judge were in chambers with the door open, and he doesn't know if Lori is back there or not. So anyway, going back to this list that we keep not finishing because I want to answer your comments and questions here, but competency, we discussed knowing and intelligent waiver. She has to make a knowing and intelligent waiver of her right to counsel. The judge can consider courtroom disruption if the defendant shows an inability to follow court procedures or an intent to disrupt the trial process. And then finally, seriousness of the charge. While not the sole determinant, the seriousness of the crime, like murder, might influence a judge's decision. The complexity and potential consequences of the case could lead a judge to be more cautious about allowing self-representation due to the gravity of the situation and the defendant's potential inability to handle such a case effectively without legal training. So, given these points, a judge in Arizona could indeed prevent a red rum defendant. I got that from Kresha because YouTube doesn't like that word. Excuse me. Prevent a defendant from representing themselves if the defendant is found not competent to represent themselves due to mental health issues or lack of understanding. The defendant does not make a knowing and intelligent waiver of counsel. And again, knowing and intelligent is up to the judge. Or the defendant's behavior in court disrupts the proceedings. So it says judges have considerable discretion in these matters, balancing the defendant's constitutional rights with the need for a fair trial. However, any decision to deny self-representation must be carefully justified, usually on the record, to ensure it does not violate the defendant's rights. So that's the information that I found when I was looking all this information up yesterday. It gave me a lot of hope to think that Judge Bereskey has a lot of leeway in this matter. And also, I have been watching Judge Bereskey throughout these proceedings, and I know that he is an intelligent judge, and he seems to be very no-nonsense and down-to-earth. Okay, so Justin just tweeted here, again, Lori's defense followed an MCSO deputy to where she's been waiting just outside the courtroom, so she was not in chambers with the judge. They walked out with thick files of documents. So this could be a longer hearing, depending on what kind of legal basis they're going to have. So I'm very nervous about the outcome of this this hearing this morning. I'm very nervous. Anyway, thanks. I'm going to come back and look at some of your questions and comments. Again, if you have a question, please call attention to it with something eye-catching so that I can see it. Yes, this is a worry as well, but I think Judge Bereskey, he sees through BS. Martha T says she seems very capable of taking on a persona. Do you think she can maneuver an interview with a judge to seem like she has competence and decorum? Yes, I do. I think she's very capable of that kind of manipulation. We've seen it happen over and over. You saw the body cam footage of right after the shooting outside her house where she was, you saw her personality there. She was sort of flirty. She was being charming. She was making jokes. And then you saw about a body camera footage. If you haven't seen the body camera footage of the police interviewing Lori at her townhome the day of the welfare check on JJ, I highly recommend that you go watch that video. I did an unpack of that video, sort of an analysis of her body language and her speech and all of that on my channel. I don't have the brain space to go look it up right now, but it's there. I believe it's on my Lori Vallow playlist, but it came out during the Chad Daybell trial. They did not play it during Lori's original trial, but it came out during the Chad Daybell trial. And you can watch a manipulator in live action. She is trying to get them on her side. And the detective who is heading this whole thing up, he's not having any of it. Sometimes manipulators will sort of, they'll be charming, they'll laugh, they'll smile, they'll say something and then giggle a little bit and try to get you to smile and laugh along with them. This detective was not doing that. And that's how you can tell if somebody is being influenced by the manipulator. So manipulators know that it's our tendency to mirror other people's behavior. So for example, if I'm sitting across from you and I'm using my hands like this, you might use the same gesture if we're talking. It's just sort of an unconscious thing that people do. It's what bonds us together, some of this body language while we're talking. Well, manipulators know that, and they will try to get you to mirror their demeanor in order to get you on their side. So that's why Lori, when she's talking to people, she said, in the body cam footage after the shooting, you saw her say, we've only been here for 2 weeks. Sorry, neighbors. She gives that little laugh. She's trying to get the officer to laugh along with her because she knows if she can get that reaction, she can slowly get them to believe her narrative and be on her side. She's trying to disarm them with her charm. So yeah, she can seem competent. She can seem like she's going to conduct it with decorum. She's going to answer the questions the way she thinks the judge wants to hear the answers. She's not going to tell the full truth about what she really thinks or how she really feels. She's going to answer the questions the way she thinks Judge Bereskey wants to hear the answers. So yeah, absolutely. She's going to try to engage in that kind of manipulation. But Judge Bereskey can ask her very pointed questions in order to get her to reveal her true motives. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to take place. I'm sure he's very competent, and I'm sure that he's used to this kind of thing. So Justin has tweeted a few more things here now. He says defense is back in the courtroom waiting for Judge Bereskey and Vallow. Vallow's lawyer, Pamela Hicks, asked the deputy if the judge is aware they have, quote, the form signed. So I'm guessing that that's the form that Lori has to sign to waive her right to counsel. That's just a guess. I'm sure we'll find out. But I'll keep updating you here, and I'll come back to your comments and questions now. Yep, I agree with you, Barbara Ann. She's going to put on a show. Okay, what would she call? I'm guessing this is in reference to Chad. What would she call him as a witness? Well, we know that Lori and Chad obviously were in contact during this entire series of events. And we know that Chad called the funeral home the day after the shooting. I'm not sure exactly what she would call Chad for, but the fact that she has the ability to call him at all, the prosecution can object to her calling him as a witness, but if she can justify it by saying, he was involved in the castings, he knew Charles was a demon, Chad was the one who said Charles was a demon, she can bring some of that into play, but also it's going to require her to somewhat implicate Chad in this. And we know she did not want to do that in the first trial. She did not want to blame it on Chad. So I don't know. She's tricky. The situation is tricky, but if she has the opportunity to call Chad and see him in court and question him, she's probably going to do it if she can find a way to do it. Yeah, I agree. Watching the process work and watching the legal process has been good for me as well. A Thousand Things says, do you think her attorneys want her to represent herself just because she will probably be found guilty? I don't know. If I was a defense attorney, I would not want my client to represent themselves because it's not a good idea. It's, you're not going to get a good outcome from it. So if I was a defense attorney, I would advise my client not to represent themselves. Like, it's your right to do it, but I don't think it's going to work. Justin Lum says 1 minute ago, Lori Vallow is now in the courtroom. Judge Bereskey confirms she's been found competent and that she wants to represent herself. Vallow says yes. Okay, here we go, you guys. Oh, man, my stomach hurts. Stacy says, will 7 gatherers be called for this trial because of the castings? I wonder if we'll learn more about that than we did in Chad's trial. If I were the prosecution, absolutely, I would call every single one of those people. I would want Zulema. I would want Melanie Gibb. I would want Melanie Pulowski. I would want Audrey. I would want all of those people because they were doing the castings with Lori. So absolutely, I hope that they all get called because I want all of them to answer for their role in this. Joanna, there is a part of me too that wants to see Lori make a fool of herself. However, when I think about the idea of her questioning Kay and just making Charles out to be a horrible person, I can't take any pleasure in that. So yeah, I'm not sure why either, but I want to find out. And that, I think some of that's going to come out in the trial too. And then we have Brandon's trial after this one as well. So just refreshing Justin's feed because I know it's happening right now. Okay, so Bereskey asks a series of questions that include what grade in school she finished and if she's taken any drugs recently. Those are probably standard questions. Bereskey says he does note that Vallow speaks and communicates and acts appropriately in court. Oh no. The judge reminds her that an attorney can be valuable in criminal cases. He asks Vallow why she wants to represent herself. Okay, here we go, you guys. I'm nervous. Very, very nervous. Live stream is not allowed, Justin confirms. So we're going to have to just wait. Until Fox 10 Phoenix posts the video. Vallow says she has studied case law for the past 5 years and participated in family court cases in the past. Yeah, she participated in family court cases, her divorce from Joe Ryan, namely, and that did not go well. If you guys haven't looked on Hidden True Crime, has the FOIA documents from that court case. And you should go dig into that if you're interested in it. So I can barely think beyond my nervousness, you guys. So it will not be televised, but Fox 10 Phoenix will post the video as they did yesterday. It took them until about 1:00 yesterday to get the video up. So that was 1:00 Central Time. and the hearing was at 8:30, so it's going to be a similar time frame today. I'm guessing. Judge is going over all the responsibilities that Vallow will have during a trial, and if she understands, she says yes, and that she is very prepared. I don't like it. I don't like it. Whew. Too many people, Michelle says, are believing BS from manipulators lately. I don't trust most to not fall for her charms. Yeah, but also the prosecution, I think, will do a good job of pointing out where she is just trying to manipulate and control the narrative. That's their job as well. So, Dr. John believes Sarah Boone was abused. He fell for her BS. Okay, so let me just address this. There's a difference between having an objective view of someone and falling for their BS. So objectively, it's possible that Sarah Boone was abused. You're talking about somebody who's a forensic psychologist. He does this for a living. So if he notices that Sarah Boone exhibits behaviors and mannerisms of someone who has been abused, then I believe him. Absolutely. It's his job. Noting that someone may have been abused and that may be the cause of some of their behavior does not mean you're falling for their BS. He did not excuse her behavior. He did not say that makes it okay for her to do what she did. And I feel the same way about Lori. I think it's very likely that she was abused and neglected. I know, emotionally neglected, knowing who her parents are. So she did not have a healthy upbringing. And that doesn't excuse anything that she's done at all. So it's not an excuse, and it's not falling for it to be able to see somebody objectively and understand the reason for their behavior. In fact, I think understanding the reasons behind someone's manipulative behavior is just as important as understanding their manipulative behavior. If we can understand why, then it helps us see people in the correct light, and it helps us to know how to defend ourselves against it. So it's a really important skill, and it's important to be able to see someone objectively and understand why they're behaving the way that they are if you really want to be able to protect yourself against it. For example, when I talked to my therapist about one of the people in my life, they pointed out, well, this person seems like they are about as mature as a 13-year-old girl. And I went, oh my gosh, that really helped me so much, because then I changed my expectations of that person to reflect the fact that they're never going to be more mature than a 13-year-old girl. Kay is texting me here. Hi, Kay. How are you? Kay says she is so full of herself, super confident, cute, typical loco. And that's what we refer to Lori as, loco, instead of Lolo, because her nickname is Lolo. Okay, guys, going back to Justin Lum here. Thanks for being with me, and thanks for all of your comments and questions. This is helping me emotionally with this. Okay, so the judge asks Vallow if she understands that this case has complicated evidentiary issues, and will she be able to present a defense? She says yes, and she's well aware of them. Well, of course, that's what she's going to say, but I don't think she really knows how complicated these cases can get. The evidentiary issues, like back in Idaho, when they were saying that things from the Arizona case couldn't be brought into the Idaho case, but only under certain circumstances. That's complicated legal issues that you need an attorney to understand how to present that type of evidence. Bereskey says, even if Vallow represents herself, the lawyers she has now will be appointed as advisory counsel. So we talked about this yesterday. They will sit there with her as advisors and help her with procedure and things like that. Jenny Allison says, manipulators / narcissists can be very pleasant. If people don't truly know them, they would see them as a kind and genuine person. Yes, they have this exterior veneer where they seem very kind, very charming. They can even, I had a master narcissist show me so much compassion one time that for a little while, she had me fooled for a little while. And then I started to see little things, little cracks in the veneer here and there. This person literally tucked me in and kissed me on the forehead when I was having a horrible panic attack. And so, yes, they can exhibit behaviors that seem very compassionate. They can exhibit behaviors that seem very kind, but they do it as a tactic to make people believe that's who they really are. It's not real. It's a veneer. So they're very capable, and I think Lori is exactly like that. Yes, mirroring is a technique that's taught by interrogators. It's fascinating human behavior to dig into. All stuff I'm going to be covering in my BULLYPROOF E-course. So this is stuff that I have done a lot of work and research over the last 10 years, understanding manipulators and understanding how to defend against manipulative behaviors. Breaking news: the judge grants Lori's Vallow. The judge grants Lori Vallow's request to represent herself in her murder conspiracy trial. Lori Vallow waives the right to an attorney and is now pro se. So there we have it, you guys. I'm going to share the screen with you. This is Justin's Twitter feed. So that's the picture that Justin posted yesterday of Lori leaving the courtroom. New trial date is set for March 31st, 2025, with jury selection starting that day at 9 a.m. Lori Vallow says she will be ready for that trial date and has a reply to the state's response to the motion to compel discovery. She's ready to file that. So there we are. Kay is sharing with me a video of the Zoom that she's on the Zoom hearing. So I'm going to mute myself for just a second so I can play this video because I don't know if Kay knows that I'm live right now. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to leave the Twitter feed up here for you guys for just a second. I'm going to listen to this video that Kay shared with me, and then I'll come back and see if it's something I can share with you or not. January 10th, 2025 is the status conference date. So there's more happening in the hearing. I'm going to just leave this up here for a second while I mute myself and listen to Kay's video. So give me. Oh goodness, you guys, this video that Kay shared with me is Lori in the status conference talking to the judge about filing this motion to compel. I'm not going to share it with you. I'm just texting with Kay. Sorry, you guys. Yeah. So we'll get to see what Kay's sharing with me anyway, but I'm not going to share it right now. we'll get to see it when the video of the status conference goes live. We're getting a taste of what it's going to be like to see Lori represent herself. She is very arrogant. She's trying to be charming, but she's also being very arrogant. So I am not enjoying this, you guys. This is really hard. I did not want this to turn out this way, but it is what it is. Justin Lum says, we're now confirming that there are 2 separate trials for both cases. The first being the murder conspiracy charge and the fatal shooting of Charles Vallow. The next, the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux. So there are indeed 2 separate trials. I think Lori's representation of herself in this trial is going to be a big determining factor as to whether or not she's allowed to represent herself in Brandon Boudreaux's trial. I'm going to go back now to your comments, you guys, so I can answer your questions. I'm very behind. I'm about 15 minutes behind in looking at the comments. So give me just a second to kind of catch up here if you don't mind. And thank you for being here with me. Being able to go through this with a community of people who are supportive is really important for me. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah. It's awful. It's awful, Rhonda. Okay. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate you. I'm not sure why they don't allow a live stream of the status hearing, but he did allow cameras to be in the courtroom. So Fox 10 Phoenix does have, oh, my puppies are coming over here to comfort me because they know I'm upset. Judge Bereskey did allow cameras in the courtroom, but he's not allowing these status conference to be live streamed. And I'm not sure exactly the reason for that, but they will put up the video. Fox 10 Phoenix will put up the video of the conference later today. And when they do, I will stream it and I will be there to comment on it, just as I did yesterday. I don't think that I will be getting on many other people's live streams today, but I will post the video of the conference. I will stream it and comment on it, just as I did yesterday. So I just want to make that clear. No more updates yet from Justin. Welcome, Kim. Good to have you. I'm so glad there are so many people from around the world. I have some watchers from Australia, some from Ireland, some from England, and I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for this, Summer. That's really kind of you. Beautiful nails, by the way. Thanks. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys so much. Ashley, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you just jumping on this. And I don't do a good job of notifying my mods when I'm going to be live. And Ashley and Jen, you guys have been heroes the last couple of days. So I really appreciate you. Thanks for your support. So Jenny, Lori says she's studied case law for the past 5 years and participated in family court cases in the past. Do you buy that? Yes, I do. She's the family court case she's talking about is her divorce from Joe Ryan. So she's participated in a family court case. I do believe she probably has been studying law. I mean, in jail, other than, preaching her stuff. I'm sure she's probably had it in her mind a long time. Probably since the end of her last trial. She's probably been planning to represent herself since then. So I think she probably has been studying. So Yes, Kay is more than capable of holding her own against Lori. I'm not worried that Kay can't hold her own. What I hate for Kay is the level of disrespect that it is, to have to answer questions from someone who did the horrific things that Lori did. I don't want to be too specific because YouTube doesn't like that, but I just, I can't imagine a worse courtroom scenario than for these people who are victims in this case to have to be questioned by the person who victimized them. It's just awful. Yeah, so that video of Lori talking to the judge just sent me. It just is so disturbing to see Lori behaving this way, or to see Lori being allowed to speak this way, speak up in court and everything. It's awful. Janelle, thank you for this comment. If she says anything like she's told Colby, I don't think she's very prepared. Well, you have to remember with Colby, she had her defenses down. She was trying to get Colby to basically believe her narrative, and she still wanted to have a relationship with Colby. I think that's very different than how we will see her in court. So I think she's prepared to behave in court the way she knows she needs to in order to get people to believe her and to manipulate them. So whew, I'm just breathing here, you guys. Thanks for being here with me. Yeah, lots of discussion in the chat about the Sarah Boone situation, and I haven't watched enough of that case to competently comment on, on the situation. But I do believe that Dr. John Mathias is a very competent forensic psychologist, and I trust his opinion. So I will defer to the experts on all of that, and I don't think that I'm going to be digging into that case. I only have so much space for things like that. So that's all I will say about that. Yeah, so Galen says the likelihood of the state of Idaho releasing Chad in the custody of Arizona so he can testify is really unlikely because he was sentenced to the death penalty. Yeah, he is on death row, so I don't know what the legal basis precedent is for a death row inmate to be able to testify in another trial. Excuse me. But let's hope that they're not going to let him go to Arizona to testify. I think Lori would have to show very compelling evidence that Chad would be able to present relevant evidence to this case that is not hearsay. So, so Cutley asks, if Lori is acting outside of what's required, can the judge declare a mistrial and say she has to have an attorney? I don't think a mistrial, but I think that it is possible from the research that I did yesterday, that if she does begin to disrupt the decorum of the courtroom, or if she is not presenting a capable defense, or if whatever the circumstances are, I think in the middle of the court case, the judge can say, I'm going to order now that you not represent yourself anymore. I believe that that's what I discovered in my research last night. I'll go back and double check on that before the hearing gets aired this afternoon so I can have a better answer for you. But I'm fairly certain that the judge has the leeway to be able to go back and say, okay, you can't represent yourself anymore. So yeah, this is not the outcome that anyone wanted. I don't think there's anybody out there who really seriously wants to see Lori defend herself. So I'm very disappointed, but I trust the judge. I really trust Judge Bereskey. So I trust that he's doing what is in the best interest of the outcome of the trial, because Lori does have to have, she has her rights, and I know that the judge does not want a mistrial in this case. No judge wants a mistrial, and so he is doing what he needs to do legally for her to get a fair trial and to uphold her Sixth Amendment rights. He has to do that. So he would not allow her to defend herself unless he really believes, and he knows he has to uphold her Sixth Amendment rights. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry I'm not very articulate in this moment when I'm feeling these very complicated emotions and a lot of anger towards Lori. So thank you guys for being patient with me and allowing me to just be authentic with my emotions. This is how I really feel. Thanks to all of you who are cursing in the chat, because I would be cursing along with you if I wasn't live right now. Yeah, the trial was going to, the original trial date was February 25th. And now it's been pushed back to March 31st. So it's a little bit farther back. I'm sorry for my dogs making noises. The garbage man is outside and they want to go run out there and bark at him. So they're whining at me to let him out, but I'm not going to. You don't need to go outside. You really don't. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. Chill. My dogs are a pointer shepherd mix, and their tails, when they start wagging their tails, they are literally like weapons. So the noise that you hear is my dog's tail wagging against her cage. And I have two of them, and they're basically velociraptors. So, okay, so I'm looking through your comments here for more questions. I don't know the answer to this, Summer. If she's found guilty in Arizona, where will she do her time, Idaho or Arizona? I think it's likely that she will be taken back to Idaho, since she was convicted there first and she's serving 3 life sentences there. So that's all. Yeah, you're right. You're not supposed to share the Zooms. And so that's why I'm not going to share that video with you. But the whole status hearing will be televised. Sorry, not televised. It'll be on Fox 10 Phoenix YouTube channel, and I will stream it here along with commentary as soon as they put it up. I'm guessing it's probably going to be sometime around 12:30 or 1 p.m. From what I understand, Kay is doing well. I know she's not happy about this either. I'll be anxious to talk with her. I will try and give her a call as soon as I'm off of this live stream. I'm still checking Justin Lum's Twitter feed because he hasn't said that the hearing is over yet. And he's clarifying some other points. So I don't think that the hearing is done. So I'm still refreshing his feed as I'm talking to you here and answering questions. Yeah, this is a good idea. How to watch the trial and remain as emotionally disconnected as possible from Lori's antics. I really don't want to be emotionally disconnected. But what I do in advance to prepare myself emotionally, I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of journaling. I do let my feelings come out authentically at the moment that they come out. I try to identify the emotions that I'm feeling, because that helps them to just release. If I tried to bottle up my anger or my frustration or my grief that comes up, that's not healthy. And so I try to let my emotions come out authentically. And when I do that, it allows me to just release them and let go of them. And then they don't give me any further consternation. So maybe that would be a good thing. I will do an episode on my Midlife Revolution podcast prior to the trial about how all of us can watch this trial in a healthy way, because I think that one of the reasons people watch true crime is because they've either, witnessed a similar circumstance, or they have some kind of connection to the human behavior behind true crime. But I think it's really important to protect your mental health when you're digging into these things. It's disturbing. There's a lot of grief and complicated emotions that come up, and we do need to do this in a healthy way. So I really would like I would like for everyone who's watching this to be able to watch it in a healthy way and have it not have a negative impact on your mental health. So I will do an episode like that on my midlife revolution for anybody who is interested in watching the trial and protecting your mental health. So I really appreciate you guys being here with me this morning, and for all your love, hugs, and kindness. Your little heart emojis mean a lot to me. So sorry for the dog toy squeaking, you guys. If I get up and address what's going on with my dogs, it's going to turn into chaos here pretty quickly. So I might let them out here in a second, but I'm still refreshing, and there's no more update from Justin. So I think the status conference is continuing. I don't think it's over yet. Thank you so much for being here with me for that moment, you guys. Thank you so much for your kindness. So this is a good question, Kim Dodd. No disrespect, only trying to understand why the emotional response that she can represent herself. I shared yesterday that it is really hard for me to watch Lori and to hear her speak, to watch her body language and to hear her speak, because the Lori that I knew and loved and grew up with is not in there anymore. She's gone. I had to grieve the loss of my cousin. But to have her actually alive and walking around as a different persona, as this crazy, evil serial killer, that's really hard for me. There's a lot of grief in that, in the fact that the person that I knew and loved is gone, and yet there's this monster walking around, and we're going to have to listen to her for probably weeks in this trial. We're going to have to listen to her lies and her manipulation. We're going to have to listen to her try and justify her actions in the unaliving of her own children. That's horrible. It's so much easier and more peaceful when Lori is just sitting there as a silent defendant, when she's not speaking. When she did that allocution statement at her sentencing hearing, I was filled with rage at the disrespect of her referring to Tammy Daybell as her good friend, talking about Tylee and JJ, saying that they told her she didn't do anything wrong. It's delusional, horrible, infuriating BS. And we're going to have to listen to it for 4 weeks, probably. For days and days on end, we're going to have to listen to her lies and her manipulation and her disrespect of the people whose lives she took. That's why it's emotional for me, because I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen to it. And now I don't really have a choice. I mean, I do. Okay, I could not go to the trial. I could not listen to it if I wanted to. But that leaves the wound open for me. And I know that I don't believe in closure. I don't think that there is closure, but the best way for me to heal from the hurt that this has caused me personally in my life, the best way for me to heal from that is to address it head on and to know the full truth. I want to know the whole truth. And that's what helps me heal, to know the whole truth and to not ignore it, to not dissociate from it, to not deny it, to not push it away. That's what helps me heal. So that's why it's emotional for me. And that's why I am going to be there. I hope to be there every day of the trial if I possibly can. So at the end of March, my kiddos will still be in school. So I don't know yet how that's going to all play out. I don't know exactly what the situation is going to be for all of my children. And not only that, but my Excuse me, guys. Not only that, but my granddaughter is due at in the middle of April, and I am not going to miss that for anything. So, depending on my family situation, how that all works out, I would like to be there for every day of the trial. But again, my kiddos come first, and so it's going to depend on how I can work all of that out. So I apologize that my dogs are freaking out a little bit. Yes, and I think it is degrading to Charles's memory and to his family. And I think she probably will be pretty hostile towards Kay. Not that I worry about Kay holding her own against Lori, but just that it will be emotional and difficult. So, and I do think she will convict herself. Justice for Charles. So this is Valkyrie. She is, she's 5 years old, and she really, really wants to go outside. So I'm going to let her out. Okay, you want to go outside? Let's go. Let's go. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Since I'm not playing that video, I don't need to wear my headphones. Anyway, my dogs they are hunting dogs. Pointers are hunters. And so they like to go out and bark at the squirrels. And they think that my only mission in life is to let them in and out 300 times a day. So I may have to put them in their cages because they are barking like crazy. There are squirrels in the trees. Okay, I apologize, you guys. Young Park asks, what was Alex's relationship with Lori? Why were they so flirty? I think they did have blurred lines in their relationship. They did not have good boundaries. They are an enmeshed family system. They were very flirty with each other. In that family system, it was just okay for them to squeeze each other's butt, squeeze each other's pecs. It was just weird. It was not healthy. I think it just comes from being raised in a family with poor boundaries. So that's all I can really competently say about that. Is there a chance she refuses to cross people? Well, she doesn't have to cross-examine anyone. She can just say, I don't have any questions for this witness. But she, I think, is going to take every opportunity to be on display and to put on a show. So I don't think she's going to pass up the opportunity to cross-examine people. I think she's going to do everything she can to be the center of attention the entire time. Yeah, I think there's something to this, Taylor J. After she spoke with Colby, and Colby said, no, you cannot be in my life. You cannot be in my children's life. At that point, I think after that point, she didn't have anything to lose. So there's that. And this is a good point. I don't think she trusts her defense attorneys to follow her requests. That's how she ended up with a competency hearing. I agree with you. I think she knows better. She thinks she knows better than her own attorneys. I'm going back to check the Twitter feed over here, and there is no further update from Justin Lum. His last update was 24 minutes ago. So I'm going to continue to answer your questions here and continue to check the Twitter feed, because he usually does say, Justin usually does say when the hearing ends. So I want to make sure that that we get the final word from Justin before I end this stream. And then I'll take a little break, and I will stream the hearing in its entirety when it is posted by Fox 10 Phoenix. Now, yesterday, they edited out a portion of the hearing where the attorneys were up at the judge's bench, And that portion of the hearing, you couldn't hear what they were saying anyway. And so Fox 10 Phoenix does edit out those portions so that you don't have to sit there while nothing is happening in the courtroom that we can hear. So they probably will do some cleaning up like that before they post it. So it's probably going to be, yesterday it was right at 1 p.m. Central Time that they posted the video. So I'm guessing it's going to be right around that time as well. Yes, I agree with you, Erica. She called 0 witnesses in her first trial. I feel that will change now that she's the one doing the questioning. Stephanie, I don't think Arizona is trying to fail Charles Vallow. I think Judge Bereskey is doing what he needs to do legally to make sure that Lori gets a fair trial so that there's not a mistrial. That's what I think is happening. The judge has a job to do, and he has to leave his personal biases aside. That is what a judge does, or that's what they're supposed to do. Regardless of what his personal opinion is regarding Lori or the charges or any of that, he has to set all of those personal things aside and follow the rule of law. And that's what he's doing here. So I appreciate him making sure that Lori gets a fair trial so that there's no kind of mistrial. I want there to be justice for Charles. Yeah, I think Kay will wipe the floor with Lori. Kay is a very capable, intelligent, and lovely human being. I really love Kay and Larry a lot. Yes, Lori plays the martyr. She paints herself as the ideal mother. She talks constantly about how much time and energy and effort she put into, quote unquote, caring for her children, which I think is disgusting. It is just disgusting. Okay, nothing on the Twitter feed again. Yep, I agree with you. Nobody should have to answer her, but it looks like now she's going to. Lindsay Hendricks, Megan, did I understand correctly that Barry Cox also represented himself in some sort of legal proceeding? I can't remember the ins and outs, but I do remember he wrote a book or something. So Barry Cox believes that he is a sovereign citizen. He believes that the IRS is an illegal organization and that nobody should have to pay taxes. He outlines his opinions in a book, which is basically the legal brief that he brought against the state of California, I want to say. You can look it up. The trial documents, not the trial documents, but the court documents are all there. It's all available on the internet. I may do an episode where I talk about that, but I haven't really decided. I really don't want to do that. So yes, he represented himself in a case where he sued, he might have sued the United States of America to try and posit basically that the IRS is an illegal organization and that nobody should have to pay taxes. He turned that legal brief into a book that he sells on Amazon. Please don't buy it. Please don't. You can read it for free. You can read the court documents for free, and that's all the book is. It's his legal brief. It was like 130 something pages long. And yes, he did represent himself. And you can tell by the way that I'm talking that it sort of infuriates me. So I'm done with that. Yeah, I can't imagine how Adam must be feeling. He's, I'm sure, going to be called to testify in this case. He was right there. He was supposed to meet with Charles the morning of July 11th. Adam was the last one to exchange text messages with Charles, so I'm sure he will be called to testify, which means Lori's going to question him, which I think is horrible. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine how he must be feeling. Whew. Thank you for being here with me, guys, as I work through these difficult emotions. Yeah, and this is true too. There is decorum in the courtroom. The prosecution can object to her questioning, her line of questioning. Objection argumentative rings in my head a lot with Lindsay Blake pushing up against John Pryor and his questioning of some of the witnesses. So The judge will have the opportunity to sustain or overrule objections, which is certain lines of questioning are going to be prohibited. And so Lori does have to follow the rule of law in the courtroom. So there will be things she will not be able to ask, lines of questioning she won't be able to go down. Hey, is Larry Woodcock in here? Oh, good morning, Larry. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, goodness. I really want to come and visit you guys. It would do my heart good to spend a little bit of time with you. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Love you guys so much. Yeah, maybe they would let Chad via Zoom. They are married. Married couples do not have to testify against each other. So that may be a reason why they don't let Chad come, because he doesn't have to testify against Lori. He can just say, I don't want to answer those questions. So the prosecution may have something to say about allowing Lori to even call Chad as a witness. I don't know. It sure will be terrible to watch all of this go down. Whew, goodness. Thanks for being here, you guys. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, this is true too. Lori will be up against experienced prosecutors. The prosecutors and judge will not allow Lori to disrespect the court. And I do believe she will be found guilty. I think the evidence is overwhelming that she conspired against Charles. And so I'm not worried that she's not going to be found guilty. I'm just worried about the emotional damage that she will do on her way down. That's what I'm sad about. Sorry if I missed this. Does she have to have standby counsel that's DP qualified? No, because the death penalty is not on the table. I believe this is a conspiracy case, and I don't think it is a death penalty case. I'm going to go back to Justin's feed again and check and see if the hearing is over. I guess I could also just ask Kay. In fact, I'm going to text her real quick and ask her. I just want to make sure that we get all the information. Justin Lum does a great job of live tweeting these hearings for us, since there is a camera in the courtroom, but it's not being streamed. And so I really appreciate Justin's work on this case. Okay, so I'm just going through looking for your questions. How can we best support you? Well, thank you for asking. The best way that you can support me is to subscribe to my channel and to like the episode and to keep showing up for these lives. I really appreciate you guys. Also, you can share these episodes with other people who may want to hear them. If you have a Twitter, you can share my videos to your Twitter feed. I do on the Midlife Revolution podcast. My podcast is all about healing. It's all about making small changes that improve the quality of your life. You can watch my Midlife Revolution podcasts or listen to them anywhere podcasts are available. You can subscribe to that if you want. I keep my dogs in the crates overnight so that they don't get into things that could harm them. So that's why I keep them in crates overnight. They are Shepherd Pointer mixes, and they are very lovely, intuitive dogs, although they do drive me insane sometimes. Okay, so Kay just texted me back and said the hearing is over at this time. I'm going to continue to answer your questions here for just a minute. I've made it most of the way through the comment feed. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your support and your kindness. And I'm just going to look through for these for any questions that I can answer this morning. And then again, I am going to stream the hearing once Fox 10 Phoenix posts it on their YouTube channel. And if you are just joining us, there's a status conference in Lori's case this morning, Lori Vallow's case, in the conspiracy trial for justice for Charles Vallow. And yesterday she was found competent by 2 separate mental health evaluators. She was found competent to stand trial. And the breaking news this morning is that Judge Bereskey is going to allow her to represent herself in this case. So I just wanted to make sure that anybody joining us late got that information. It is not the outcome that any of us wanted, but it is what is going to happen. So at this point, I'm going to radically accept the horrible truth that Lori's going to represent herself, and we're going to have to listen to her garbage in court for the entire trial. Thank you so much for your support, you guys. Dom's mom, thanks for being a member. I appreciate you so much. Cutley, thank you for this super sticker, super chat. I don't know what they're called, but I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I also do have, I have a Venmo, I have a Patreon. All of my stuff is at @3rd_verse. My Patreon is under the Midlife Revolution podcast. And I have an e-course coming out starting on January 7th. And the link to sign up for that e-course is in the description of this video. It's going to be a course on how to identify manipulative behaviors and defend against them. It's going to be an 8-week live e-course where you're going to get to ask the questions that you need to ask, address the specific scenarios and people in your life that are manipulators, and how to defend against them, how to protect your peace and make your life better. So those are good ways to support me. Oh, Tom Evans is here. Hi, Tom. How are you? So good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I thought about you a couple days ago when I was at jury duty. Tom and I texted a little bit about that. I did not get chosen, by the way. I loved Tom's book. He did a great job of detailing his experience as a juror in Lori Vallow's first trial in Idaho. It's an excellent read. I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to have some behind the scenes info about Lori's trial and how that went from the perspective of Tom Evans, who was a juror there. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Yes, this attorney, these 2 attorneys that are with her in the hearing this morning will be the ones sitting with her at the defense table and helping her. So yeah, it is going to be a fiasco. I feel for the judge. I feel for the jury. I feel for everybody who is going to have to go through this trial. So the trial date, the original trial date of February 25th, 2025 has been vacated, and the trial will now begin with jury selection on March 31st of 2025. So that is the news this morning, and I'm just here answering people's questions for a little bit, and then I will live stream I will play the video of the hearing when it is posted so that we can watch it. Thank you so much for your congratulations. I'm so excited to have a little granddaughter. My grandson is 4. He'll be turning 5 right when my granddaughter is being born. So I'm super, super excited for that. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Latter Daily Digest. Share, like, and subscribe. I appreciate that. Yes, she means her own family. When she says I've participated in family court cases, she means her divorce from Joe Ryan. I'm pretty sure that's what she means. You could cover this at night when the kids are sleeping. That's true. That's for sure true. I'm going to be covering the whole trial, regardless of whether I'm there in person. So I will be there in person for as much of it as I possibly can, but kids and grandkids come first. So I will, if I need to cover it remotely for some of the time, I will do that, but I will be covering the whole thing. Thanks so much, you guys, for being here with me. Yes, this is exactly what I'm hoping, Tom Evans. I want to know who else was involved, and the attempt on Brandon. I want to know who else was involved. I want to know all of the details and all of the facts, because that is what helps me to heal. Michelle asks, do you think the enmeshed family system is why Adam doesn't see the lack of boundaries? I think that is exactly the case. I think when you're in it, it's really hard to see it for what it is. When I was growing up, I believed that my family of origin was normal. I believed that I was like, well, all families must be like this. You sort of have a myopic view when you're in it. After I removed myself from it and healed from the trauma that I experienced, then I was able to see it for what it was. I think Adam is still very much in his family system, and it's really hard to see it for what it is when you're in it. So I think that's part of the difficulty there. Margie Z, thank you so much. You are always so kind. I love to see your smiling face on your little thumbnail there, your picture. So appreciate you guys so much. I'm trying to catch up with your questions here, because I think these are important questions. I think understanding this is really important to everybody, to prevent things like this from happening again. Do I think she'll make an opening statement that is not herself testifying? Well, opening statements have rules of what can and can't be said, and I'm sure her attorneys will help her to follow the rules. So I don't know. Larry says, may Lori never ever be able to see or visit with any child till she dies in prison. I agree 100%. I agree, Larry. Thank you. Lots of emotions, lots of grief, you guys, and lots of anger. Goodness. I think we've answered the question about counsel being death penalty qualified. So she doesn't need death penalty qualified counsel because that's not on the table, as far as I know, unless I'm wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. I will be there. Will you, Tom? Will you be going to this trial? I know you went to Chad Daybell's trial. I know you're writing a book about that experience. I'm curious if you're going to be here at this one and if you're going to write another book. Yeah, hearing her talk in person is very bizarre, for sure. Okay, I'm starting to catch up here. I think I'm almost caught up here. I'm getting to the end, I think. So if you have any questions, do call attention to them, because I'm trying to catch up. All the public service is receiving supposed to be free. Yes, there is, in the Sixth Amendment, there's a provision: if you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. So the state pays for the public defenders to represent any defendants who can't afford an attorney, and that would be Lori. So that's why she has received she's received counsel. So Tom Evans will be there at the trial. I'm so happy to hear this. I cannot wait to spend time with you, Tom. Tom's one of my favorite people, and that's going to be awesome. That's going to be a bright spot in this horrible saga for me. Lindsay Hendricks asks, one last question regarding Barry, if that's all right. Do you know if Lori and Barry are in contact at all? I do not know. I only know that she's been talking with her mom. I don't know about Barry. So thanks, Janelle. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, Larry. Yeah, Adam shouldn't have to answer to Lori either. No one should have to answer to Lori. Let's just be clear about that. Lori does not deserve any explanations from anybody. She does not deserve this opportunity. but it is afforded her under the Constitution, and therefore she will get it. And I'm glad that she is getting her right to a fair trial, because then there will not be a mistrial and Charles will receive justice. That's what I want. Still makes me mad though. I'm gonna need my scream pillow for this. Me too. Oh, thanks, Larry. This is so kind of you. I didn't even know that you listened to my podcast, but that's really kind of you. Thank you so much. Lou, this is hilarious. Thank you. She probably would if she could. Yes, and I agree with you. Sitting in these difficult emotions is the strength. It helps me to overcome it. And yes, Larry is confirming here that court is over. So I'm just here answering questions of people. And thank you. Okay's here too. Yay. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you guys are here. And I'm just going to keep answering questions for just a little bit longer here. It's 11 o'clock, so we've been on here for an hour and a half or so. I'll give it a little while longer to answer your questions, and then I'm going to take a break before the video gets posted by Fox 10 Phoenix. And we're going to use that under YouTube's fair use policy, that we can comment on other videos and we can play them and comment on them. I agree with this, Brittany. She doesn't have anything to say for herself that is going to appease anybody at all. And I think she is partially doing this just to hurt people who spoke up against her. This is her final chance and she's taking it. It is sad. And I think you're absolutely right. She is doing this partially just to hurt the people who spoke up against her. One of the things that people with narcissistic traits and manipulators hate more than anything is being exposed. And the people who have exposed her for who she is are the people that she hates the most. And she wants to try and flip the script and change the narrative and get people to believe that she really was a wonderful mother. As far as I'm concerned, she's not a mother anymore. Colby told her, no, you cannot have a place in my life, and good for him. So the end. Darlene says, we really need to get a life sentence for Charles, even though she already has 3. She needs a life sentence to honor Charles. And I agree with that 100%. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Thanks for your support and your kindness. Her opening statement should give us a clue on her state of mind for sure. Yep, 100%. We're gonna hear it. We're gonna hear exactly what she is about. Will she try to protect Chad is a question that I have as well, Tom. I suspect so. Because I think she really still believes that Chad is a prophet. She obviously still believes that she is a goddess, that she has special powers. And if she does anything to malign Chad or his reputation, that diminishes her status as well, because she believes Chad and she has supported him this whole time. So I don't think she will do anything that is going to question Chad's claims on authority and prophecy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Whew, goodness. Oh, thank you for this vision of the bluest water on the coast of Boston. I love the East Coast. I grew up in Connecticut for middle and high school years. I miss New England in the fall. I miss those crispy fall mornings, and I love being near the water. So thank you for that. It just really was a relief to envision that quickly. So I really appreciate that. Larry, thank you. Justin and Nate are amazing. We're proud to call both of them our friends. And yes, they are amazing. Good to see you on here again today, young Black economist. And yeah, this is terrible news. This is not the news that I wanted, the outcome that I wanted, but yeah. I love to see you guys interacting with each other in the chat. It just brings my heart so much joy to think about spending time with you guys all together in Arizona. That's going to be the wonderful bright spot of it. Lindsay Hendricks asks, are you familiar with Dr. Barry here on YouTube? She's incredible. Y'all are both awesome, insightful, well-spoken women. I haven't heard of her, but I will look her up. And I love to collaborate with other creators on YouTube. So if you have other suggestions, wonderful, beautiful humans, I would love to collaborate with other people, both on this and on mental health matters and all those kinds of topics that I talk so much about. So I love that. Thanks for this, Sichi Dale. I was determined from the very beginning to make something positive about this turn of events in my life. I had no idea that it was going to look like this. I never intended to have a podcast or a YouTube channel or any of that stuff, but I believe that it is so important to call attention to manipulative people and behaviors and hopefully prevent things like this from happening again. And that is really my life's mission. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to do this as my full-time job. This is really my dream. My dream has always been, ever since I went through my healing process of healing from abusive people and situations, my dream was to use that pain to spare other people pain. And I feel like that's what I'm doing now. And it is a dream come true to be able to do it. I never thought that it would look like this. As I said, I wasn't sure if it would ever happen or how many people that I could reach, but I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. And I'm so grateful to all the people who give me that opportunity, you beautiful humans, as well as anybody who's ever interviewed me on their podcast or their show, or who has read my book or who has shared my videos. I'm just so grateful for this message getting out there in the world that it's possible to heal and have a beautiful life after abuse, and that if you're in the middle of it, there are other people who have gone through it and who have healed from it, and it is possible to heal from the pain, and it's possible to have a beautiful life. Not only that, but I think it's so important that the prevalence of people with narcissistic traits has increased so much in recent years, probably in the last 15 years or so. I think the reason we're seeing a rise in narcissism is because narcissistic traits start to be exhibited in people as a defense mechanism. Narcissists are the most fragile people. They pretend to be bold and they pretend to be strong, but they really are very, very fragile people. And the reason they exhibit that kind of strength and these manipulative qualities is because they feel out of control and they want to be able to control things. And so they use manipulative tactics to try and gain control over their lives when they feel uncontrollable. And so people exhibiting narcissistic tendencies, it is becoming more and more prevalent. And I think it's so important to recognize these behaviors and find ways to defend against it. And that is what is, to me, so important about these conversations that we're having. All of us know someone like Lori. All of us know someone who is manipulative. All of us know somebody who tries to put one face forward in public and is a completely different person behind the scenes. And I think it's so important to learn about these tactics, to learn why they use these tactics, to learn about all the different kinds of narcissism and how it presents in people, to learn that narcissism is a spectrum, that you can have traits of narcissism without being diagnosed as a narcissist. And I think it's so important to understand these characteristics and to learn how to defend against them. So, again, the trial is going to be March 31st of 2025. That's when jury selection will begin. And I'm looking forward to continuing to talk about this trial in the context of learning how to heal and prevent things like this from happening again. Okay, this is lovely to hear. So I will look her up for sure. Thank you so much for that suggestion. Thank you guys also for supporting each other in the chat and being kind in the chat. This is one of the kindest chats on the internet, and I love it. You guys are very kind and respectful to each other. So there is a status conference, that's true, on January 10th of 2025. We will do the same thing with this. I'm pretty sure that Adam will be called to take the stand. He was there firsthand experiencing this. just prior to the shooting, and he was interacting with Charles. So I'm sure that that the prosecution will want him to testify about what he and Charles were discussing in the days leading up to his death. Yes, and let's keep this in mind. Lori is never getting out of prison. She will not see the light of day. I hate that she gets to be pro se, but no matter what, Lori will stay in prison till the day she dies, and that is true, and that brings me some peace. So thank you for reminding us of that. And I think Kay was watching the hearing via Zoom, so I don't think they were there in person. I understand Kay and Larry were moving this week, and so obviously you guys are busy. I'd love to come and help you move. Oh, thank you so much for this, to Stormy. If you're planning to attend the trial, I'm willing to host you and attend the trial with you. I live on the border of Gilbert and Mesa. I actually have some family members and friends in Arizona, and I'm guessing I probably will stay with them, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's really kind. Charlotte says, do you think old friends from her ward will come to visit her in Arizona jail? Possibly. Very possible. I know that there are people who are communicating with Lori, texting with her. And from what I understand, if you ask Lori about her beliefs and you are one of her followers, she will talk to you all day long. If you mention the case, she will not talk to you. So if anybody's interested in her craziness, be my guest. I wouldn't want to listen to it myself personally. That's so true, Virgie. She's the only person still alive that was there the day that Charles was killed. Adam was in Arizona. Barry, Janice, and Summer were in Arizona. But all the people who were in the house that morning, Lori's the only one who is still alive. I think the judge will see through her BS. He's very intelligent, and I've loved watching him throughout some of these hearings. He does not suffer fools. So, yeah, and I love that so many amazing people have come together. I'm so grateful that I got to meet Kay and Larry and Lauren and John from Hidden True Crime and Tom Evans and his beautiful wife. So that is a bright spot in this. A rhetorical question, why is Lori et al. Requesting public services if they believe in sovereign citizenship? I don't know that Lori believes in sovereign citizenship, and I don't know a whole lot about that movement. But, she's going to, Lori cherry picks, and this is another thing that manipulators do. They will swear up and down all day long that they believe one thing, but the second they have the opportunity to take advantage of a situation, they will throw that belief out the window to take advantage of a situation. So even if Lori does believe in sovereign citizenship, she will throw that out the window to take advantage of having a public defender to give her guidance during the trial. So, she just does what she wants. She does whatever she wants. She has two faces. She has two sides of her mouth, and she just is going to do whatever she wants. She's a despicable, horrible human being. Does anyone think Mark Mings is sending her cliff notes? I don't know. I doubt any attorney would want to be anywhere near her for any reason. P.S. No death penalty because it's conspiracy. That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm. So thank you for confirming for me. Oh my goodness, Elizabeth Jones from Scotland. Thanks for being here. I love to see the different countries that everybody is from. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this community. I appreciate you. Yes, unfortunately, if you're joining us late, Lori has been allowed to represent herself. That was the outcome of the status conference this morning, is that Judge Bereskey has granted Lori's request to go pro se and represent herself. And we will be able to watch the whole hearing probably sometime around 1 p.m. Central Time. Probably a little under 2 hours from now, I'm guessing, is when that hearing will be posted, and I will stream it here as well as comment on it as well. So Oh, I wish I was in Montana. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Larry says, Kay and I and the family want and pray for a positive outcome for Charles Vallow. May justice be severely served on Lori. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. I love your strength. I love your strength. Yes, Tom, enmeshed family system. I'm going to do a whole episode on this on my podcast because I think it's really important for people to understand. An enmeshed family is one in which people are not allowed to have an individual identity. There is a ruler of the family system. The name of Tom's book is Money, Power, and Sex, the Lori Vallow Daybell Story by juror number 19. I think I got that right. So an enmeshed family system has a ruler, the one who controls the family system. And everyone in the family sort of gravitates around this ruler in order to gain love and acceptance from that individual. And so they will hide their own personal identity in order to become the person that is acceptable to the ruler of the family system. The enmeshment occurs because there, if you think of what meshing together is, it's like we are so close to each other that we don't really have our own identity. We don't think for ourselves. We follow the ruler of the family system. We do what is acceptable to them. The ruler may dictate what careers the children have. They may dictate what people wear, how they speak. If you think of it as sort of like a mini cult, they're not allowed to do anything that is outside of what the cult leader wants. And so they become like each other. And if you've seen some of the FOIA documents that were released in this case, and you read the emails that go back and forth between the family members, they disagree with each other, they're angry with each other, but they also effusively talk about how much they love each other. I love you so much, and I would never say anything bad against you, but what you did was really wrong, and I don't appreciate, it's that kind of language. So in an enmeshed family system, there is not authentic communication. People do not have their own mind and their own say. It all revolves around the ruler of the family system. So I'll dig into that a lot more. There are very specific roles: the golden child, the scapegoat, the truth teller. So I'm going to do a whole episode on enmeshed family systems and on the roles within those systems, because I think it's really important for people to understand that too. So thanks for that question, Tom. I will definitely get into all of that. And just make sure you subscribe and hit notifications, everybody, so that you know when those episodes. I try to release episodes on Wednesday evenings, followed by a live Q&A afterwards. But lately, Colby's been going live at the same time that I normally do that. And I don't want to step on his lives. So I'm either going to do it earlier in the day on Wednesday, or maybe I'll do my live Q&As after his. I just want to make sure that I don't step on him. So if he's going to continue to do lives at that time, I'm going to change when I release my episodes. So thank you for posting this. I did get it. I think I got it mostly right. So I appreciate it. I do have a book. It's called I Walked Through Fire to Get Here. It has nothing to do with Lori. It's all about my healing from trauma. However, it is... I don't like it. I wrote it a long time ago when I was still going through my healing, and I would write it very differently now. So I have plans to pull it from publication and to do a second edition. But that is not my top priority right now. So my book is available on Amazon. I started to work on the audiobook and then quickly realized that I really want to rewrite it. So all of that is kind of on hold right now, as I have been launching my podcast and my YouTube channel and developing my e-course, which is coming up live on January 7th. So I've been working on other things, but yeah, my book is out there. You can buy it if you want to, but I'm going to revamp it. It's called I Walked Through Fire to Get Here, and it's available pretty much anywhere that books are sold. But Amazon is the main place, I think, where most people get it. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for being here. I appreciate you so much. Oh, good. Yeah, it'll be wonderful to connect with you, beautiful humans. We will have some kind of a gathering of beautiful humans somewhere during the trial. Thanks for this, Lamisa. It's always really good to see you. You trusted in the unfolding. It's unfolding so beautiful for you, empowering yourself and others through a trauma-informed lens. Hello to Tom. Thank you for this. I appreciate it. It is unfolding beautifully. My life is more beautiful than it's ever been, and I'm so grateful that I was able to go through the healing process and to be there for other people who are healing as well. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Yes, unfortunately, she's representing herself. If you're just joining us, the outcome of the status conference this morning is that Lori yesterday was found competent to stand trial, and she will be representing herself. The judge granted that motion this morning. So Larry says, Megan, we'll never heal from this pain. We learn to exist with it one day at a time. Yep, that's so true. Without our belief in our Lord, we would die. So thank you, Larry. It's so true. There's never closure. The pain will never go away. The grief will never stop. We just learn to live with it. So that's so true. Whew. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks, Sherry A. This is a beautiful, beautiful community. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Thank you. Needing a recommendation for a nice place to stay while attending the trial. Larry, let's get together. Let's talk because I have some family members who may be able to host us. And I would love for you guys to, I'd love to be able to stay in close proximity at least so that we can hold each other up during this. So let's chat. I'll call Kay after I get off here and we'll chat. You're right. Summer was in New York City. That's right. I forgot about that. But she was texting with Lori. And I think she probably does have some information. So I hope that she will be called as well. Yes. And I'll include you as well, Tom, your family, your chosen family. Love it. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here and for caring about justice as much as we do. I think that's what touches me so much is to see so many beautiful human beings who care about justice for Tammy and Tylee and JJ and Charles. That's what's touching to me. I appreciate you guys caring so much about justice for our family members. Thank you. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, I also I have another book called 100 Ways to Practice Self-Care. It's a low effort book. It's basically just kind of like journaling prompts and ways to get you thinking about ways that you can care for yourself in healthy ways. That one's available on Amazon also. It's just not, I don't know. They're on Amazon. It's just not I don't know. Anyway, the 100 Ways to Practice Self-Care, again, is like I said, it's a low effort book. So I just don't really even think about it whenever I'm talking about stuff that I've done or written. I think my podcast content is a lot more helpful than either one of at least than the 100 Ways to Practice Self-Care. There's a lot more helpful content on my podcast. Yes, love always wins. Thank you for this reminder. This is her last ditch effort at exerting power and control and being on the stage and in the spotlight. You are right. Yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, Lori will be able to cross-examine any witness that is on the stand. The court is supposed to protect victims, and I know the prosecution will do a great job of objecting to any line of questioning that is harmful for the victims. So, yes, unfortunately, I'm sorry about that. Thank you for this suggestion as well. I will look these people up. Father is accused of unaliving her sister. Yeah. Okay. I definitely will check that out. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, that's right. Dr. John does discuss enmeshed family on the podcast. I'll have to go back and listen to that again. It's been a long time since I've listened to that. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your suggestions. Yes. And according to Barry, they were in the top 5%. He would always say, well, that's the lower 95 for you, referring to anybody who he thought was beneath him, service people, police officers, anybody involved with the court system, the federal government, all of that. Anybody who doesn't think, act, and believe like Barry Cox is in the lower 95. So that probably includes me now. Oh, maybe I should make a t-shirt. Goodness. Thank you. Thanks for your support. Been no contact since 2016. Ran in order to save my soul. Yeah, going no contact, at least for a time, sometimes is necessary and important. I talk about how to do that in my e-course. I talk about Grey Rock. I talk about all the other tools that you can employ when you are around manipulative people. So Tom Evans says, Lori will not talk to me. I've tried several times not to give her any kind of voice, but I feel like I need to talk to her. Tom, if you wanted to come up with an alias and just ask Lori to preach to you, I'm sure she would talk to you, but she probably won't talk to you about the case. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks, Lamisa, for your contributions to people in chat as well. Sally, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody who's joining, especially if you're joining for the first time and you don't know. I didn't really properly introduce myself at the beginning of this. I just got right into it because I did so much of that yesterday. But Lori and I are first cousins. I spent summers with the Cox family growing up, and Lori was a bridesmaid at my wedding. Lori and Summer both were. I lived with Lori and Adam in Austin for a short time. And the Coxes lived in San Antonio, where I live, for about 10 years. And I spent a lot of time with the Cox family. So I know their family system very well. And I sort of started distancing myself from Lori when she began divorcing Joe Ryan. And I haven't spoken to her very much, except a few, just a few family gatherings since, the early 2000s, or I think around 2012 or 13 or so was the last time that I spoke with her. So I know the Coxes very well. I know the family system very well. I know Lori very well. I don't think Lori has changed much. She was always a very manipulative person. And when I started hearing people talk about her as a doting mother and a devoted mother, I had to say something, because my experiences with her were that she was very sickeningly sweet and fake to you until you did or said something that either crossed her or exposed her for who she is, and then she was evil and vicious. That was my experience with her. She literally had me kicked out of the apartment that we were living in together because I think she perceived me as a threat to her narrative. And so anyway, that's who I am. That's part of who I am. Certainly not the most important part of who I am, but that's the reason why I talk so much about Lori and her manipulative behavior, is because I witnessed it firsthand, and I was on the receiving end of her ire. And I just want people to know who she really is. I think now people do know who she really is. I don't think there's anybody else out there saying that she was a good mom. I think people see her for who she is, but I want people to continue to heal. So that's why I talk about it. So Larry's taking off. Good day, all. May God bless all. Thank you so much for being here, Larry. I appreciate you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and jump off now as well. And I will be playing the full video of the full status conference when Fox 10 Phoenix posts it. and I will be commenting on it as well. Buckle up, you guys. Prepare yourselves, okay? Because from the video that I saw already, watching Lori is very triggering and upsetting and infuriating. So if that is not your cup of tea and you don't want to be angered, you want to keep your peace today, maybe don't watch the hearing when it comes up. So little last comments here. Thank you so much, Tom. You're so kind. Very touching and a good read. Thanks. I appreciate you. Pretty Lies and Alibis just posted 2 separate trials. Why 2? Is because this particular trial, the one that will take place beginning on March 31st of 2025, is for conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Charles Vallow. The second trial is going to be attempted conspiracy. I don't know exactly the right words right now, you guys. Brandon Boudreaux survived the attempt on his life, but there is a conspiracy trial against Lori in that case as well. She is the only one left to prosecute. So that's why there are 2 trials. So his trial, the trial for justice for Brandon, will take place sometime after this one for Charles. And so that's why they're posting about two trials. So love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot tell you how much it means to me to be able to unpack this with a community of supportive people. I really appreciate it. I hope it's helpful for you as well. Thank you for all of you who have liked and subscribed. Over 50% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers. So if more people would subscribe who watch, it would really help the channel. It would help my content to get to more people, and it would help me to help more people. So that's the best way, the best free way to support the channel. I do also have a Patreon and a Venmo at @3rd_verse. I have a TikTok and an Instagram channel. So there's lots of places where you can find more content that I make about healing and moving forward and having more peaceful lives. Thank you for saying this, Tom. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that we found each other. So I'm going to take a little break and do some self-care. And I will be back when the video gets posted, probably around an hour and a half from now, an hour to an hour and a half from now. So I love you guys. I'm so grateful for you for being here. Please take care of yourselves. Please be good to yourselves. And I will see you again very, very soon. Take care.